Derby County are rumoured to be interested in the signing of young Wycombe Wanderers forward Richard Kone. After only recently making the step up from semi-professional football, he now finds himself at the forefront of a ton of interest from EFL Championship clubs, and Derby County are just one of the names on that list. The 21-year-old, born on July 15th, 2003, looks to be heading to the second tier, but how much do Wycombe Wanderers want for him? It's going to be interesting to see. Now, the link does come from the Derby County Forum. It's a guy who, over the course of the summer and other transfer windows, seems to have been knowledgeable. Now, I'm not going to say that this is factual information, but there is a potential for this deal to be going ahead. We know that Derby County are looking for a striker, and I think Richard Kone fits the mould of striker that Paul Warne wants. Standing at 1.85 metres tall, that's around 6'1", 6'2", and a main centre forward. He has bags of ability and bags of potential to go forward, and he's currently valued at £300,000. His contract is expected to expire in June, of 2026, and obviously currently playing for Wycombe Wanderers. Now, he spent a lot of time in the Essex Senior League and the Essex Senior Football League Division 1 South, where over the course of his time in that league, he played for Athletic Newham, where he made 109 appearances, scoring 88 times, and that is something which cannot be turned down. He is a goal scorer. He knows where the back of the net is, and that form hasn't stopped since stepping up to League One. Now, obviously, at the start of last season, the middle of last season, when he did move up, he did struggle a little bit with obviously the changes of going from non-league football to that professional game. But over the course of that season, he made 21 appearances, scoring 4 goals, collecting 4 assists in just over 800 minutes, which in my opinion was really, really impressive for a striker coming up from the non-league ranks into the professional game. Now, if we then take a look at his 24-25 season so far, he's made 25 appearances in League One, scoring 13 goals. He's made 2 appearances in the FA Cup, scoring 1, assisting 1, and he's made 3 appearances in both the EFL Cup and the EFL Trophy, scoring twice and assisting 1 goal. Now, for me, Richard Kone has bags of ability which Derby County can utilise going forward this season, and for me, I think he could be a really, really impressive player, and a player who could really add to our goal tally in the forward line. Now, obviously, in my opinion, we have to be brutally honest, this deal is not going to come cheap. Kone is not going to be a cheap player. Now, I made a video talking about the 3 links of Harvey Nibbs, Sam Smith and Kone just yesterday morning before the Leyton Orient game was rescheduled, and for me, I think it's really important we dive into each player individually. I've already done Nibbs a few weeks ago. We're doing Kone now, and Sam Smith will follow later on in the week. And for me, I think a lot of people will be looking at this and going, oh, he's played 1 season of professional football, he's stepped up and he's had a good season, but can he continue it? And for me, you've got to look at it in the mould of the likes of Jamie Vardy, who stepped up from non-league, was average for a large period, and then just banged into form. And I think Kone, at 21 years old, has bags of potential and ability. And in my personal opinion, I'd rather have Kone on our bench with Dejan Brown than a Connor Washington and James Collins. That's my personal opinion. And I do think Kone is an improvement on what we have already, and I think he's shown that by his League One performances. Paul Warne wouldn't give Dejan Brown the time of day in League One, but Kone has played, 20, 30 games in League One, and he's scored nearly 25 goals, which is obviously really, really impressive, and he's only going to get better. At just 21 years of age, he's only going to get better, and the more goals he scores, the more assists he provides, the more expensive it's going to be to get this player into the club. So I think now is the perfect time to go and pick up a Kone. We spoke a few weeks ago, well, it wasn't even a few weeks ago, it was probably last week, about Tom Curzons from Ilkeston Town, and I think he's in sort of a similar situation to Kone. He wants to make sure that when he steps up to the English Football League, that he is playing football week in, week out. He's not sitting on a bench, he's not struggling to get game time, because ultimately that then stunts the development. And yes, you're getting paid a much better wage than you are at non-league level, and you're now full-time, but you want to be playing football, and that's what everybody plays football for. It might not be the whole thing entirely for everybody where they play football for the love of the game. Some people will play it for money because they're good at it, but for me, everybody wants to play, and you look at the money available, and if he is not playing for Derby, is not then going to be able to ask for a bigger contract or a potential transfer elsewhere. And these are the things that Derby County need to consider with transfers. And for me, I think Kone and Curzon's one of would be really good for Derby County, and I think it's about time we make the most of those links to non-league, the clubs in and around us, because we have brought players in from sort of non-league environments before, and ultimately we've never really given them the time of day, and ultimately they end up getting chucked in the 21s and then released and things like that. And yes, there has to be ability from the player, but there also has to be opportunity at the club, and I think that would be the situation with Tom Curzon's, where I think the opportunity wouldn't quite be there for us and him at Derby County, so I think he'll end up going elsewhere. But Kone, I think, he's put himself in the perfect position to be able to take a position at Derby County and potentially play up front alongside a Jerry Yates, or even instead of Jerry Yates. And that's something which Paul Warne has to look at, because come the summer, we lose Jerry Yates, we lose James Collins, we lose Connor Washington, and Dejon Brown. Now, I respect Dejon Brown. I think he's got bags of potential, but he isn't ready to be our main number 9 at this present moment in time, because ultimately he's not played enough football at championship level. And if we go into a season with Dejon Brown as our sole number 9, we're going to really struggle going forwards. Now, obviously, the summer transfer window will bring new players, it will bring new links, but ultimately, if we can get some in now, bedded in for that summer window, when we potentially may have investment through the door with a potential new owner taking over from David Clowes. Obviously, we spoke about that earlier on in the year. I think there's a really good opportunity for Derby County, and the likes of Kone or Sam Smith would certainly add to the quality in the squad right now. Long term, they might not be the best signings at the moment, but I think they could have an impact on the season right now and keep us in the division. And obviously there is a link going round at the moment too. I think his name's Lasse Nordas from, I think it's Tromso, and I think he's another player who could be really, really pivotal for Derby County. But if we're looking at the fees that are potentially needed to bring these players in, I think if we potentially look abroad now, it may take a little bit longer. Nordas may be a little bit more expensive than in the summer. And we just have to wait and see, really, because there is some really, really good opportunities coming up. There will be a video dropping in a couple of days about Lasse Nordas, and it'll be interesting to see what you guys think about him, because I think he could be a really good prospect for Derby County, as well as obviously Kone, who we spoke about in this video. But obviously, let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Do you think Derby County will sign any of the players that we've been linked to over the course of the last week? The likes of Harvey Nibbs, Sam Smith, Lasse Nordas, and obviously Richard Kone. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I think there is a really big possibility for Derby County to go out and pick up some really, really interesting players in this January window. We're on the 11th as of time of recording. Are we going to bring in some players anytime soon? Paul Warne hopes to have one in before Watford, but we have no idea who that might be. The rumours would say it's probably Harvey Nibbs or Louis Barry, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, hit the like button as well, and I'll catch you in the next one.